Hey there folks, Wrel here. This is your Auraxium update for May 14, 2016. Maybe we should start calling them Cordium updates, or, maybe not. We'll go over some news related to the community, then we'll go into some changes that have been made recently, and changes that will hopefully be made in the future. This episode is probably going to be longer than usual, and I hope you all enjoy the gameplay as well. First up is that Ross from Accursed Farms, the YouTube channel best known for the Freeman's Mine series, is hosting an invasion of PlanetSide 2 on the 15th. That's this Sunday. Unfortunately, most of those players were encouraged to go NC just because of how his tutorial played out, and the tutorial is great, by the way. I'm going to link it in the video description, definitely worth a look, and share it with your friends if they're just getting into the game for the first time. But I want to counter-encourage, is that a thing? Counter-encourage you to play VS or TR as well. Because if there are going to be 1,000 people or so jumping into PlanetSide 2 on just one faction, that's probably not going to be a whole lot of fun for the new players, truth be told, because you'll either be getting farmed extremely hard, or ghost capping extremely hard, or maybe even locked into the VR training room if there are still bugs with the faction pop queuing. So I definitely encourage you to spread out between all the factions if you're part of that Ross event, or if you're not, try to counterbalance that invasion. And I believe that some dedicated platoon leaders are going to be trying to help new players. So Hard Rock from DAP was kind of spearheading the thing, Robo CPF1 from Ghosts of the Republic, Captain Cox from 1TR, and Captain in Arms from VCO. They should be around, I believe, to help with that event, or help shepherd new players that are going to be coming in because of it. And this is on the Emerald server. It's also worth noting that in a recent patch, the new player tutorial was re-enabled, so instead of being dumped into a live continent or going straight to cold tier with no real idea of how to get started, you'll at least have the basics down before you start getting shot at. Also, from the 13th to the 22nd, everyone is getting double experience. Experience boosts are also 20% off, and that's pretty significant, so now is definitely the time to jump back into the game if you haven't already, if only to earn those sweet certs. And if you need some advice for grinding out certs, the How to Grind Certs Easily video is still worth watching, or worth sharing with your friends if they need a better idea of how to grind certs as well. A link to that video is in the card above, as well as the video description. This is the first Auraxium update video we've done since the construction system's release, and the more recent update has added a lot of polish to that system as well. So if you've been out of the loop for a while, there was a massive update, probably the biggest update in the game's history, and it introduced the Advanced Nanite Transport, or the ANT, which was a vehicle that used to be in PlanetSide 1, but in PlanetSide 2, it acts as a vessel to harvest minerals, and then turn those minerals into constructs you can place throughout the continents. I did a whole breakdown of the system if you have an interest, but it has definitely shaken up the game a bit. Also, you're very likely to see the ANT directive and ribbons from harvesting and transferring cordium into silos. That should be in the next update, don't quote me on that, but we're definitely working on it. We are going to be adding new construction objects as well, if not in the next update, it's just when they're done. We definitely want to add more, we want to build out the system, because there's a lot of potential for construction in general now that the groundwork has been laid, so you can brace yourself for all sorts of cool things in the future. Speaking of cool things, in the latest update, which wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, Spitfire turrets now have access to a cert line, which will let engineers carry more than one. At max rank, you can carry up to 4, and there's a 20-second cooldown between placements, so if you've seen a sudden spike in the number of BPs on the field, that would be the reason why. Utility Pouch was refunded and split into 2 certification lines, which are Demolition Pouch for C4, Mine Carrier for anti-tank mines, and the second rank Mine Carrier gives you another anti-personnel mine. And the reason for this was just because Utility Pouch is a really confusing certification line. If you wanted to cert into 2 bricks of C4, you had to unlock 3 ranks of the thing. If you wanted 2 extra anti-tank mines, you had to unlock 4 ranks of it. And if you wanted just 1 extra anti-personnel mine, you had to unlock all 5. And unless you looked at the cert list, which wasn't around for a while and people rarely look at it anyway, you had no idea what each rank was going to give you until you had unlocked the rank before it. It was just a really silly way to do things. EM6, TMG50, and Pulsar LSW have new models. The VS Pulsar's assault rifle actually has some slight model changes as well, but those weren't mentioned in the patch, and let me know if you actually noticed them or not. Experience caps on bounties have been completely removed. Experience caps on ammo has been greatly increased, meaning that you won't top out ammo experience very quickly, which also makes ammo sundies more worthwhile. Aphelion, Gatekeeper, Mjolnir all have been added to the Harasser directive lines, Drop pods can steer east and west again finally, and they have a little bit more controllability as well, which is, something that we used to have in the past, but it got nerfed. And it's definitely not back to that state because it was ridiculous, but it's a little bit better for sure. And just a bunch of other small stuff, small good changes. Also, alongside the construction system, the faction queue system was also implemented. And basically what it does is try to keep continent populations within 15% of the lowest pop faction. So for example, if you log into your TR character and there's too many TR on Indar, but you really want to go to Indar, it's going to put you in queue. So people will need to first leave before you get to go to Indar, and then, continue to make the other two factions miserable or whatever. And we did and probably still do have issues with this system, but that's being worked on, and overall it's been a very positive change for the game. Another thing I wanted to point out for awareness is that if you hold tab, you'll now see network latency and server ping indicators. These mean different things, and Joshua Kriegshauser is the technical director of PlanetSide 2. He posted an explanation on Reddit that I'll link to. And one of the things that it should do is help you diagnose whether or not the lag you're experiencing has something to do with you or something to do with the server, or maybe a combination of the two. So if you want to read up on that, I've left a link in the video description. Lastly, let's talk about some other fun stuff that's currently in the works. Rocklet Rifle is coming up, still hammering this thing out, but the intention would be to give light assaults some anti-vehicle capabilities that don't revolve around C4, as well as some support utility that can help them breach or cover allies. Right now there's a really early version on the PTS, but the later version, the one we have internally, it's a whole lot different, and definitely go check it out when the PTS gets updated. Also, air-to-air changes, this is pretty big. I posted a huge thread a while ago and it got a lot of feedback. We had a public playtest and I got even more feedback, and then a bunch of people gave me even more feedback individually by sending private messages. So this is definitely a topic that a lot of people have an interest in, a lot of people care about. There have already been a lot of changes made based on that feedback, and hopefully we'll get a new version of the public test server up soon so that you can all test, everything that's changed. But air-to-air, the premise of the changes is not only to make the experience more enjoyable for new players, but also to alleviate some long-standing issues with air balance in general, as well as encourage more varied loadouts. So the air-to-air lock-on missiles are getting a role shift to hunting big game targets like Liberators, Galaxies, instead of ESF, though it's still possible to use them on ESF if you really want. Coyotes will definitely be there for players who want a useful anti-ESF weapon that doesn't rely on AB fuel tanks. Locust nose guns also got buffs to they're more long-range oriented now. Rotaries should be a bit more powerful overall. Composite armor has been given some resistance to ESF nose guns, and that's a big shift at the upper levels of play. And engagement radar is default on all ESF. That's a massive change to the air game in general. The actual patch notes will come out once it's tweaked and once it has a solid version of it on PTS, but if you pay attention to Reddit, you're likely to see some intermittent notes about that, the detail of the current changes, as well as what feedback is being considered, and that sort of thing. And I do try to keep up the communication about that. So, lots of fun stuff happening in PlanetSide 2 lately. Some new features, some big balance adjustments, and a lot of bug fixing, like a ridiculous amount of bug fixing, and a lot more players now to enjoy the game with. Again. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if you have anything you'd like to talk about or see in the future, go ahead and leave those thoughts in the comments section down below. Thanks very much, folks. Wrel signing off.
I'm staying well back this time. To be honest, I'd be dealing with the nose guy anyway, so that's what you do. Uh-oh. I'll do anything. I'll give you certs. Spare me. Gonna take you with me. Damn it. Oh. Wait, it says you're full health. I guess the kill screen thing's bugged as well. Alright, just mentioning it said that you were full health. Don't know if it's a minor bug or not. So, same loadout or something else in mind?